This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Welcome to the Row 1 Seat 1 podcast. I have been to shows. I know that shows are kind of a scary thing right now, but I have been to wrestling shows over the past couple weeks, and let me tell you, they are not scary. I made a 12-hour drive to Backyard USA, to the Backyard Wrestling Show for GCW, in parts unknown. And actually, you know what? Fuck it. I can say it's Philadelphia because I made some pictures in Philadelphia. And it was in the Philadelphia area. I will not tell you where it was or the exact location, but it was in the general area of Philadelphia, because I made pictures at Tony Luke's, and I made pictures at the ECW Arena, which is really cool to take a picture at, by the way. That's a place you need to go to when you're in the Philadelphia area. Backyard Wrestling had fire. It had people jumping off of scaffolds. It had a guy getting hit by a car. It had fireworks on a dick. It was a show that occurred, and then I went to the ICW Deathmatch show. And if you've never been to a deathmatch show, you need to go to a deathmatch show because it'll grow you up real fast. I've been to TWE in Chattanooga. I brought my lovely girlfriend there. Yes, I've got a girlfriend, so you guys can place your bets now. So it's been a couple weeks, man. I'm starting to get back in the groove of things. Shows are largely safe. They're making required masks. They're doing hand sanitizer every 30 seconds. They just have people hired to spray you around with hand sanitizer, and it's actually kind of a cool thing. My hands have never been so clean. It's a wonderful thing. So if you decide to go to a show, know that for the most part they will be safe. And especially if you go to a more professional show, and especially some of these bigger independent federations, they will take care of you. So I decided to have on my favorite human being, who is a professional wrestler, on for this show, because frankly I missed him. He's a great person, a great professional wrestler, and just a general good guy. O'Shea Edwards, welcome to the show.
What's up, buddy? Thanks for having me back, man.
I missed you, man. I missed you so much.
I missed you too, buddy.
You live far away, and it sucks now.
I know. I know. I do live far away.
I drove through Maryland, and I'm just like, I'm going to stop at O'Shea's place. And then, like, I was driving other human beings, and I'm like, this would be weird, because it was like 3 a.m. I'm sure you would still put me up. But,
of course. All you do is ask me. Of course I would.
I know I would. I know, but it's still, it would have been weird. It would have been weird. Your lovely wife probably would have given me the side eye. And it just... Nah. Who knows?
We'll play it by ear.
We'll play it by ear. But no, you have been up to some amazing things over the past year. And I had to have you on again because you are a gift to professional wrestling. And... just been doing great things over the past year, and had to have you on. Let's just talk about how you've been killing it the last year, and the last 9 months, because the last 3 or 4 months have sucked.
Yes, they have.
They really, really have. But the last time I had you on was a little over a year ago. You had not yet been on Beyond. You had not yet killed it in the DC scene. You were just moving it up to the DC area. And a little trepidatious about that. You were going to be entering the Ring of Honor school. And talk about how that's gone a little bit.
Yeah, man. So it's been like what? It's been like 14, maybe 15 months since we left. Yeah, wow. Yeah. It's been a minute. So things have been on such a upward trajectory. I'll use that college word right there.
Word.
Since the last time we talked. And, you know, you really don't understand how far you've come until you like take a minute to like really step back out of it and just kind of like take a look. And so the past 3 months, everything's kind of been like, I guess at a standstill for some people, and I'm not special. Everything's been to a standstill for me. But I get a chance to look back at what was the past year up till March, and it's awe-inspiring to say the least. Never would I would have thought that like I would have gotten this far, like 5 years ago. Never in my wildest dreams would I would have thought I would have came this far. But here we are. So, joining the dojo and everything it was an adjustment. But it was a welcome challenge. It's like, going from high school to college, playing college football, high school football, you realize that everybody in that dojo, everywhere that they're from, they were the man or woman from where they're from. So now this is the best of the best that's coming through this place. And there is a reason why, Ring of Honor has them there. It's not just for, it's not for shits and giggles or anything like that. Like there's a reason why they're there. And
this is finishing school.
It's a finishing school, right? And so during that whole time, I'm trying to kind of figure out like where I fit in this whole thing, if I fit in this whole thing, so far and so forth. And it wasn't until about maybe towards the tail end of 2019 where I really started to find that groove, where I really started to come into my own, and I really started to like show off. I guess show off the goods would be the better term.
Sure.
And for people to start, noticing what was going on. And it became one of those things where once they started noticing, everyone else started noticing too. And it was just one of those things where I'm like, this is it. Like, this is what we're after. This is what we came for. This is what this is what we were trying to pull off, yada, yada, yada. Like, here we are. And it really kind of turned into its own thing. Someone on Twitter said that me moving up north was like a power play. Like you change, like when I got up here, you changed the whole landscape of independent wrestling in the Northeast, just because then it's like, oh snap, like he's up here now. And so my whole game is I'm gonna force you to step your game up, or you're just gonna get walked over. You choose. You figure out which one you want to be, but this is happening. So like during the summer of 2019, Primetime Pro Wrestling really got off and running, and really became a thing within the DC area, which was awesome. I really started to cement myself into it wasn't enough for me just to be the man in DC. I wanted to be, the end all be all, if that makes any sense.
In an area that didn't have wrestling 2 years ago, by the way. Right.
And 2 years ago, wrestling was non-existent. Like even like the WWE barely showed it to DC, and for good reason. Like there's a lot of red tape that goes on in DC, and some of it I got to like see firsthand. Of like, oh wow, this is what's going on. Yeah, this sucks. Yeah. But for the most part, though, it was just one of those things where it was like, okay, cool. This is going to be home now. For as long as I can make this home, this is going to be home. And so like during the summer, like it just turned into this big thing. Then SCI 2019 happened, which really to me was such a, I don't want to say homecoming, but it was more of like, look what I can do. Like, this is something I've been doing from the get go. And to an extent, man, it was more of it was a giant FU to everyone else.
No, I'll call it a homecoming, because it was, to me, as, the unofficial party host of SCI, it was just like, my friend is coming home. He's kicked ass up in DC for a while, and he's,
right.
He's coming home with all the stuff he's learned, and You know, you had a great showing at SCI. You almost won. And you came back a new man, a better man. And with all the stuff you picked up, and you were a different wrestler in 2019 than you were in 2018.
Yeah, and that was the goal. Was I just didn't move for the sake of, you know, for moving. You know, like I moved for a very distinct reason. That was to get better. That was to get better. And like I told some of the Sobros guys, I can't really make people look fucking dumb. Like I was gonna make people look dumb. Just because I was in your backyard for, at the time, 4 years, but because you already had X amount of people already, you just asked, we don't need them, which is perfectly fine. You know, it's perfectly somebody's prerogative. You know, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I am grown enough to understand it. I'm mature enough to actually accept it. You know, it's whatever. But just because I'm grown and just because I'm adult enough, don't mean that I'm not petty. Oh, I'm a petty bitch when I gotta be. And that was what I wanted to do that entire time, was to be petty. In a very professional sense. I just wanted to be petty. Of like, this is what I can do. This is what you all missed out on because, I'll say his name because I don't give a shit. That's because you always want to jump up on the Ike Cross train. And now look what happened. And that's what it was. It was like, now look what happened. Yep. He's gone for the second time, and the biggest thing you guys had rocking is now elsewhere. Whoops.
Yep.
Whoops. And that was my giant thing. Was it just whoops? Boy, did you guys back the wrong horse. And it's nothing that I sit there and kind of like, ha ha, he, look what you did. But at the same time, it's one of those, you know what you did. Like, you know what you did.
I didn't take you for granted, but I think we took you for granted.
We, and we's being a general
the
term.
Royal we.
Yeah, the royal we.
Yeah.
Which was fine. You know, they had their favorites, man. And like I said, that's fine. That is okay. Because at the end of the day, I thank them for it because, like I said, Georgia telling me no was the best thing that ever could have happened to me. It is the best thing that ever happened to me because now, I mean, look where I'm at, you know, and look what I continue to do. You know, I did Beyond, bro.
Yeah.
I did Beyond. There's only 3 of us, at least, I don't know, maybe off. I know this is 3 of us from the state of Georgia that has done Beyond. That's me, Fred, and AC. If there's another one, excuse me for missing you. But
no, that's it. That's it. I've tracked it. That's it.
Right. That's it. That is it, man. And for me, it's, you know, not on top of that, but now I turn DC into like my playground. You know, I tell people all the time, I was like, I run DC, and if you were here before I got here and you take offense to that, that's your problem, not mine. Like no one else took it, so I'll take it. I'll do it. You know, it's not that big a deal to me. Not, you know, that's your loss, not mine. Deal with it now. And if it's one of those things where it's like, oh man, you know, you're not the king of DC. Prove me wrong.
No, you were. You were, right. And you still are. Like, and that's right. I'm saying that objectively. Like,
right.
That was your house.
Yeah,
it is your house.
And you're looking. I made it to my house in less than 3 months. Less than 3 months, I made it to my house. And like I said, I wasn't hiding it. I'm taking over, guys. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I came here for. I didn't come in here to, you know, accept second place because I've already been second place before. And that was one of the beautiful things about leaving Georgia. It's like, okay, I know what it means to be in second place. And I hate it. And I will never be second place ever again. So it's one of those things where you got to eat, you know, you got to eat shit to understand what shit tastes like. Because once you know what shit tastes like, you know you'll never have that taste in your mouth ever again. Because you'll never forget it. You'll never forget, you know, like losing a Super Bowl. You hate that feeling, but you know what it feels like, and you know for a fact you never want to feel it again. So you work your ass off to make sure that you never feel it again.
And then we won 6.
Right. You know, and then you win 6 of them some bitches. You know what I'm saying? So,
had to rub that in. Sorry.
By the way,
yeah,
you know my allegiance. You know I'm not a Patriots fan.
Yeah.
Be damned if I'm not a Cam Newton fan.
Word.
And that kid's gonna go off the meter.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like,
if he's healthy, we're good.
Oh, that kid's gonna go off the. And this ain't about money. He's petty. He is gonna be so petty.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't. Like, this is gonna be good.
And McDaniels is gonna know how to work him too.
Right, because he's done it before.
Yep.
You know, he did it with Tebow. He made chicken salad out of chicken shit when it came to Tebow, and I was like, God bless him. Yep. God bless him. Look at him go. Now you have somebody who's league's better.
Let him roll.
Yeah, let him go. Just let him go. And he's got something to prove. Yeah. Belichick just called the plays, dog.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I can't wait.
I'm excited. I'm excited. But anyway, like I said before, it was one of those things of where I never wanted to feel that way ever again. And like I said, that summer, end of summer, coming to SCI, you know, doing doing Crux, then doing SCI, then doing, you know, something right after with to this day, one of the heaviest hitting matches I've ever been a part of. That was the goal, was to, like, hey, no matter where I go, like, I'm the man you guys came to see. Or if anything, I'm going to be the guy you're going to be talking about when it's all said and done. That's what I want to do when I was in DC, when I go to Ohio now, when I go to Jersey, when I did Beyond. That was my whole goal, was, hey, man, I don't know if I'll ever come back. So I'm going to show my ass to every simple extent, so that even if I don't come back, you will always remember me.
And I think I noticed this weekend with another wrestler. I think such a large part of being a good wrestler is confidence. And maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't, but I think such a large part of being a good wrestler is the idea that I can do this. And once you cross that threshold of, you know what, I can play with the big boys, then you are exponentially better. Would you agree with that or not?
Oh, dude, confidence. If you don't believe your own brand of bullshit, nobody else will. Simple as that. Nobody else will. And I will always be my biggest fan. Like, no matter what. Bigger than my wife, bigger than my parents, you know, bigger than some of my friends, bigger than some of the other. I will always be my biggest fan. I have to be.
Yeah.
I have to be my biggest fan. Call that ego, call that, call it whatever you want to. But it's like, I have to be my biggest fan because I don't trust anybody else to do it. And I don't say that to be like a dick, but it's just like, no, man, I don't.
But when you have that I can hang with anyone moment,
yeah,
then you're golden.
You're good. And that's what 2019 was for me, that I can hang with anybody, you know. So anytime we do a Future of Honor show, I will show my ass. Anytime I do a show outside of like, you know, the DMV, I'm gonna show my ass. Give me your best. Watch me hang. Not even so much watch me hang, but watch me set the pace and watch us go. So a lot of it is, you know, 60% of it in the thing. So a lot of it, you know, 60% of it's confidence, you know, 30% of it's actual skill. And then honestly, I tell people the other 10%, pure luck.
Yeah.
Pure luck, being in the right place, you know, at the right time, you know, and not just being ready, but just staying ready, you know. So many people get ready for something, you know, and then, you know, it's just like after, okay, well, that was fun. I'm like, no, dude, you're just getting started. You know, and it bothers me to an extent because, well, and a lot of it is just because how I was raised, where it's, hey, man, no. Like, getting here is just half the job. It's just half the job. Now that you're here, you have to show that you belong here. Every day you have to show that you belong here. Every day you have to prove that, you know, you can hang with anybody in this building at any given time. All they got to do is call your name.
So speaking of hanging and belonging and being among the best, because I'm sure a lot of my audience will be very curious about this. Talk about the environment at the ROH Dojo. Talk about the people you encounter. Talk about who takes you under their wing, who's cool, who's not. Well, maybe not who's not, but unless you really want to. Talk about what it's like to be at the ROH Dojo.
Now let me get one thing straight. The dojo is a competition. Like, without a doubt, the dojo is a competition. There's only so many quote unquote spots for so many people. So it is a competition, but at the same time, nobody wants to see anybody fail.
Sure.
So it's an issue of we're all here to get better, but it's up to you on how good you get while you're here. And that was it. Like, this is where you find out who you are, what you do, and then you compound on it and you become better at it. You become better at something else, and so it becomes its own thing. There hasn't been a soul in that place that I've been like, man, fuck this guy.
That's good, though.
And if there is, I'm not saying it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm just not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just one of those things. There hasn't, everybody who's there currently, I have no problems with. I understand what this is. I understand what we're doing. But there's nobody at that place going, man, fuck that guy. No. There's guys who do stuff better than me, which is fine. I will never be perfect at everything. I get it. Not a problem. But I know for a fact that on a microphone or in front of a camera, no one's going to beat me. No one's going to beat me. I do it all the time. I'm confident in that. I'm not going to be the greatest technician in the world. I didn't get this far being a technician.
And to my audience who's never seen an O'Shea Edwards promo, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Find an O'Shea Edwards promo and just live it. Just experience it like it's otherworldly shit.
First of all, you haven't seen one of my promos. Shame on you.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Well, I have a different sort of audience who so go out of your way and watch an O'Shea Edwards promo.
They're all on YouTube. So yeah. There you go. But the dojo's a place where you getting better is going to be indicative on you. No one's going to force you to show up. No one's going to force you to do it. You want to be here, be here. But understand something, that there are X amount of people outside of those doors who would kill for your spot. So screw around if you want to. You will find yourself outside real quick. And at the end of the day, you have nobody to blame but yourself. Because you did it, you had your opportunity and you felt like, nah, I'm good. And it got you. it cost you, So, in terms of like it's a finishing school, all that good stuff. Like, there's so many people who come through, and there's so many people who just want everyone to get better, because a high tide raises all ships. If you get the dojo guys better when it's showtime and they got to be put on, you don't have to worry about it. You've already seen them. They can go. So you let them roll. So when guys like, Jay Lethal comes through, you're just like, yo, let's go. Like, let's do it all. When Matt Taven comes through, you're like, let's do it all. Shane Taylor came through, and we're just like, let's do it all. I want to learn it, and that's been one of the guys who I really like gravitated towards was Shane, because me and Shane come from that same cloth in terms of you can only overlook me, but for so long. Before, one, you're going to realize what you have, or two, I'm going to make you look dumb.
That dude earned his shit too.
Right, and he earned it. And here's the thing, though. He doesn't outwardly tell you that he's earned it, but if you check, but he'll pull your card real quick.
Yeah, and I know his story too. He's earned it. Like, that dude worked his ass off to get to where he's at. Right,
and you can't take it from him. You can't tell him, oh, you just no, he earned it, and you're like, good on him. He deserves everything that he's got coming to him. All the good things coming to him, and like, wrestling or not, I will always be one of his biggest fans. Like, Kenny King has been real dope to me. In terms of just taking me, hey man, look, when we do this is what we're looking for. This is what we're doing. Not so much of a wrestling sense, it's more of a TV sense, business sense. This is what we're looking at. This is what we're doing this for. Yada yada yada. He always makes his way over to talk to me every single time I see him.
That's cool.
So for stuff like that goes a long way to me, because you don't have to. You don't know me. I'm just a guy. I'm just some dude who came from Atlanta. But they make it a point. Like, no, man, you're here. This is what this is all about. You know, you're trying to make the show. We want to make sure that when you do make the show, that you're not wasting anybody's time, that you know what's up. And I can respect that. I can really respect that. And so when I come in there, for me, it's business. You know, I goof around, we joke, or we do whatever, but it's business for me. You know, because at the end of the day, I'm trying to get paid. I'm trying to be on the show. I'm trying to be in Madison Square Garden. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be on Supercard of Honor. You know, I'm trying to be honor before this, honor before dishonor. You know, all that type of stuff. You know, that's what I'm here for. I didn't come up here for my health. Hell, I was living the dream in Atlanta. I was doing pretty damn good for myself. Now, granted, I'm doing pretty good for myself now. but still, like, I didn't have to leave. But I knew for a fact, for me to get to where I want to be, I had to. Yeah. I had to. Because if not, then I'm going to be stuck. And then I'm going to be one of those guys like, oh, man, can you imagine what O'Shea could be doing if he didn't stay? And I refuse to be that conversation.
And you have no regrets now.
Exactly. I have none whatsoever. Me leaving was one of the best things I could have done for myself. Hands down.
And you mentioned to me, too, that Cheeseburger's a guy, too, who's really...
Yes. Thank you. Just recently, Cheeseburger actually brought out... he's like, hey, if you guys want to, like, come wrestle, like, if you guys want to come and, get on, not so much get on, but you guys just want to get a ring to come over in Philly, like, come on. So, like, 6 of us just got in the car, went all the way up there, and was like, yo, Burger, for real? Like, let's do this. So, yeah, it's like I said, it's so surreal, man. So
it's a welcoming environment because, a lot of stories that come out about ROH about, this sort of thing and that sort of thing. And like,
right.
But like, you're telling me it's, you find the right people and they're rooting for you.
Of course, and like most things, like you just need the right person to like go to bat for you. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, you have to be able to do it yourself. As much as I love when someone brings my name up, like I'll always say, hey, thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. At the same time, I understand that like if my voice isn't the loudest, I can't be mad if no one says my name. So I can do all the hard work that's required. But if nobody's talking about it, if no one's, speaking about it, then you can't be mad when nothing comes of it. It's just as simple as that. That's not me trying to be egotistical, but that's just me being smart. Like, no, I know what this is. If I don't say it, I can't be mad if no one says it for me.
Sure.
And even though sometimes they tell you that's not what you're supposed to do, man, fuck that. Fuck that. You have to be your own advocate. You have to speak for yourself. You have to be the loudest voice in the room, because if you don't, then you can't be mad if you're on the outside looking in. I refuse to be just a part of the conversation. I'm trying to be the conversation.
And you went up there to go 100%.
Of course.
So if you go up there and go 90%, what's the fucking point?
Yeah. Then I have let more importantly, I've let myself down. I've let my wife down, and really more importantly, I have let down everyone else who's watching. There's so many people who I know who are watching. Like, what is he going to do?
Yeah.
And I refuse to be that guy. I've seen those guys that just like, I'm just going to stay here. I'm like, brother, like, seriously?
Can't be passive.
Right. You just going to stay here, dude? Like, it's all out here for you, And the funny thing is now, like, my DMs don't shut up about people. Hey, man, I saw you on Beyond. How do you get on? What?
You work.
Yeah, homeboy, you work. I was like, you remember all those times when I was in Georgia and I was like, hey, I got open seats. Anybody want to ride? And my phone stayed quiet. Yeah. Now, guess what, Holmes? I don't do that no more. I don't. I'm like, no, those days are done. You had 5 years up until the day I left to get on and do all the things that I was doing because I want to get better, because I wanted to make something of it. But nah, whatever. And now here I am now. All of a sudden, you're like, people hadn't talked to me in 2 years. Talking about, all right, man, how do I do this? Brother, where were you 2 years ago? But I'm preaching right now.
No, it's good. It's good. People need to hear it.
So, and like I said, and at the end of the day, like, I'm not going to drag anybody across the finish line. No, this is my race. You're more than welcome to come along, enjoy yourself, have a drink, say what's up. But
so the DC scene, you went from the South, where there's a million promotions, some good, some bad, to DC, where there's like 3. And we'll talk about the state of a couple of those a little bit later.
That DMV area gets real sketchy. Not in the sense of like quality. Like there's just nothing really much out there.
Yeah, there's real fallow, real quick. How is the adjustment period to that?
For me, because I already knew what I came to do, wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad at all. I knew what I was here for.
Sure.
I knew what I was coming to do. I knew what I was all about. So for me to be like, will I be, how will I fit in? I already knew. Like, I came up here to be the dude. Simple as that. I came up here to be the dude. And I was going to be the dude for as long as I possibly could be the dude to go.
Yeah.
So when you brought up DMV, I was going to be the first name, if not the only name you bring up. Simple as that. But within that time, there have been a few people who have really stepped up to such a level that I've been proud to be like share the stage with them, just because I'm like, dope. Like, they're putting in some massive work right now.
Like who?
And it's just great. Trisha Dora for one. She's at the dojo. She puts in work like nobody has business.
She's good,
and
too.
Not to mention like her. Ooh, she's so good. Hey, listen, Lariat Tubman, by far one of the best moves. I love it. I pop every time I see it. One of the best names too. Come on, Lariat Tubman. Come on.
The best name for a finisher too, by the way.
Yeah, hands down. You got guys like Elo Neal, Billy Dixon, Jordan Blake, Isaiah Frazier, guys who've been around this Virginia, and I know I'm missing a few, so, guys, if you're listening to this, excuse me. But for the most part, these guys who have been around here for so long, and, and they're just getting their due. And it makes me happy just because they deserve it. They deserve every single bit of it. And they just needed that light to kind of like go and get it, and as soon as DC started to get its shine, now all these people who have been like kind of waiting for that moment, now it's here. And no one has to coax them to really go get it. They see the brass ring. They see their moment, and it's beautiful because now it's one of those things. For me, it's always I want to leave a place better than when I found it.
Sure.
So now I know for a fact if something were to happen to me and I left, DC Wrestling's going to be in great hands. Oh, it's just half the names that I just rattled off. So for me, watching these guys grow and become everything that they are, it makes me smile. Just because I'm like, we're gonna be okay. Like, no matter what happens, DC's gonna be okay.
All right, let's talk primetime.
Let's talk primetime.
You had a really special thing for a while there. Primetime Pro Wrestling. They had 6 shows, sold everyone out, had some really good talent. You were the king shit there.
Yep.
You were the champion.
Yep.
And they showcased some really good talent during their time there. You mentioned a few of them: Billy Dixon, Elo Neal, Trisha Dora. They did some really good things.
Yes, they did. And that can never be stated enough of the good shit that they did. And regardless of how, at the end of the day, Primetime kind of went out with a whimper, not so much a roar, it shouldn't overshadow what Primetime was able to accomplish. One, bring wrestling to an area that hadn't had wrestling in years. And to show that not only is DC is ready for it, they're craving it. They're craving good, and I can't say that word enough, good independent wrestling. They crave it. They love it. They want it. And so that's why it's more heartbreaking when everything kind of went down the way it did, because I was like, they deserve better than that. And it sucked the way it all went down. It really, really is.
And Flying V to an extent, too.
Yes. Flying V, Crab Wrestling. I believe there's one called EWA. They're still out and running here and there. But yeah, it's just literally within a span of 24 hours, you watch DC Wrestling go from king shit to a joke. Just like that.
So, do you want to talk about what happened?
Sure, we can.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Give me your perspective on what happened.
At the end of the day, this wasn't an issue of, despite everything else that was going on in the world of wrestling, at the end of the day, if you don't have the money to run a wrestling show, don't.
Sure.
Just don't. And ultimately, what happened was Gator was borrowing money from people, and using it basically to pay other debts off. Some of those debts went to the shows, but for the most part, he was using that money to kind of pay off. And I said, this is just my opinion, but I'm a little closer than most, so it is what it is. But the thing is, the wrestling circle is very, very small, and you can only go to that well but so many times before people start talking. And when people start talking, people will start putting shit together real quick.
Yeah. And
you add in the fact that like it's COVID and no one can do anything right now. Oh, brother.
Yeah,
you fucked up. Because now we have nothing but time. No one cared when we were running shows because we're all selling out. Everyone's getting paid, For me, at the end of the day, it was my decision to walk away from that place. Just because one, if I am the, I guess, face of a promotion, it ultimately falls upon me. I didn't ask to be a locker room leader, but I was told that, the thing about leadership is the great ones never ask for it. They just do it. So it was, for me, it was like, if the business side of it can't be taken care of, if this is an issue where he's taking advantage of people, taking their money, especially in times like these, and then using, manipulative threats of, self-harm and all that good stuff to kind of like get sympathy. I'm like, you know what? This is the guy I want to be in business with. So I walked. I told the rest of the roster, hey guys, by the way, this is what I'm doing. I'm not going to make this big song and dance about it. I'm not going to make this grand gesture. I'm out.
Sure.
I am out. And so they understood, I'm like, and I told them, I was like, I hope at the end of the day that, if you guys decide to save Primetime, I wish you guys all the best. But as long as Gator is involved, I will not be a part of this. That was my line in the sand. They all were like, hey man, we get it. It sucks, but we definitely understand it. Some other stuff came out, and then eventually, like I said, it was just, at that point in time when I left, like Primetime was a dead fish. It was just basically floating along. And then once everybody else started walking away, it became what it was.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to come back, at least in any recognizable form.
Right.
Because Billy Dixon said he's pretty much done with it, and he had been part of the group, I guess, that was trying to save it or whatever. At least that's what I understand. I'm not part of the inner circle, but I guess I'm closer than some. but it's weird. But so it's a loss. It's definitely a loss.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's just one of those things of where, it does it suck? Of course it does. No one wants to go out like that. But it is something that it had to be done, because no matter what after the point, it will always stink. It would always stink.
Yeah.
And I don't want that. I didn't want that, and I didn't want to be a part of that. So it was easy for.
So we were talking about how you were always going to be a part of that DC scene, but it was just not going to be really salvageable with primetime.
Right. Yeah. And that's just it. And so now there's yet another gap that's kind of left, with, Flying V kind of walking away, and now primetime walking away. And for us though, our biggest thing was there was already a kind of a foul taste in people's mouths when it came to DC, just because of the Nova.
Yeah.
And the last thing we wanted to do was become a more successful Nova.
Yeah.
Ultimately, that's exactly what happened. We became the one thing we didn't want to happen, happened. And we're just like, God damn it. This isn't what this was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But, here we are.
This is Nova Pro that was in Virginia that had similar financial issues,
Right.
or maybe, I don't want to say worse or better financial issues, but they had financial issues as well, and they ended up collapsing as well. So,
right. So it was just one of those things where I will always have a heart for DC wrestling. More than anything, I want DC wrestling to thrive and survive, and I can only hope that once all this kind of happens and all that good stuff, once all this kind of takes its course and it does what it needs to do, then we'll all be, ready and better for it. But we'll see.
Do you want to help promote? Do you want to help be a part of that groundswell, or do you just want to be a wrestler?
Now at the time they brought it up, I was like, hey, would you like to be a part of it? And my whole thing was, I came up here to wrestle. That's ultimately that's what I wanted to do, was just, to wrestle. So it was, to me, it was a giant conflict.
Sure.
Because ultimately that's what I wanted. I just, like I said, I just want to wrestle, guys. I don't want to come up here. I'm not trying to, be Vince for anything, guys. I just want to wrestle, man. That's just it. And when I brought that up, they understood. They're like, yeah, okay, we get it. It sucks, but we understand it. So it's just like I said, it's one of those things where, if asked, if they needed help, I would, but it would nothing where it would be oh yeah, this is what I do now. Because for me, I'm like, you gotta pick one. Either you gotta pick one side of that curtain you want to be on.
Yeah.
For me personally, because if not, it becomes a giant conflict of interest. It becomes a lot of resentment, and I'm like, man, I don't have time for that, guys. I really, really don't have time for that.
Yeah, and it gets sticky once wrestlers start promoting too.
Right, because it becomes this thing of, oh, you didn't. It becomes a lot of childish games, and at the end of the day, I'm like, I really do not have the time for this.
Yeah. So, but there's a gap now between both Primetime and Flying V. Those were two that were in the DC area. Those were the two most prominent promotions you were trying to bring back up the DC scene, and now they're both gone within about a 24-hour span.
Right.
In an area that you had just rebuilt. It sucks so much because you had just done such a good job of just bringing back the scene. You had sold out all 6 of the shows at Primetime. Flying V had done really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And it just fuck, you got to do this all over again now? And you lost the trust. You've lost the trust of a lot of your fan base.
Exactly. And it sucks because now it's like you take 3 steps forward only to have to literally you just jump miles backwards.
Yeah.
So it sucks. It's nothing that, you know, anybody wanted to happen, but this had to happen because the way things were getting built, it was going to collapse one day, man.
Yeah.
either it was going to be just a little blip, or it was going to be like a catastrophe. You know, it's one of those things of like, you know, how do you want to get shot? How do you want to die? I can shoot you in the face, or I can shoot you in the stomach. You know, either way, you're dying. So
seeing what's come out, it seemed like very unsustainable, very house built on straw sort of thing.
Right. And what sucked for a lot of us is we didn't know that. We didn't know that until everyone's moved in. And, you know, you just put in your change of address. Then you realize, oh, yeah, by the way, the foundation's fucked. Yeah. What? So it sucks. It sucks, but, you know, DC wrestling will be better for it. It will heal from it. It will grow from it, and at the end of the day, it'll be better than it ever was. And
you had no inclination whatsoever with Gator, did you? I mean, there was.
Oh God, no, God, no. I had no idea what was going on until I realized what was going on, and then by that time, it was as I started putting the pieces together. It's way too late. It's way too late at that point. So it was just one of those things where I was just like, well, damn, man, like. I want to save it, but what am I saving?
Yeah.
You know, like at the end of the day, what am I saving? You know, just a name? Bump that. I'm only loyal to one brand. That is the O'Shea brand. And right now, this is not a good look for the O'Shea brand. We got to cut and run. So it wasn't a decision that I came to lightly, but it was the right decision that had to be made.
My heart goes out to the people like Billy and Eel and Trish,
yeah,
and
Lolo,
people like Lolo, and right. People like that, where that was their, that was really where they got their, if not sole source of bookings, their primary source of bookings.
But it was also their high profile stuff.
It was their home, you know.
Right. This is where they came to, like, you know, to perform for their people, and
yeah.
Now we have to kind of find a new place to go.
So, have there been any talks of starting something up new? Have you gotten?
If there has, I sure as hell hadn't been a part of it. Right. With everything going on, it's kind of left a foul, like taste in my mouth.
Sure.
So like I definitely haven't wanted anything to do with it. Just going like, nope, I'm done. I'm good. But thanks, guys.
So you're just.
Yeah. So it was like I said, it was just one of those things where you know, if like I said somebody's talking about it, I sure don't know about it.
Sure.
Not for the sake of like I don't want to, but it's one of the things I'm like, nope. I've had myself. You guys enjoy it.
So where do you go from here then? Because I mean, your local bookings are pretty much gone to shit.
Yeah. I keep doing what I've been doing.
Hop in that truck.
I got hop in the truck. I got to keep grinding. I got to keep going further and further and further. You know, got to keep getting better. I have to keep this imprint on social media that I have, just because. What else I got, man?
Yeah.
I've been preaching to the heavens that if you haven't increased your social presence in the past 3-4 months, like, what have you been doing? Like, what have you been doing? You know, like, you're not special. We've all been stuck in the same boat. We've all been inside. The race has now started over for so many people. So why aren't you taking advantage of such an opportunity? You know, it boggles my mind how, like, I just see some people just kind of standing around. I'm like, wait, what? You haven't gotten better at promos. What have you been doing for 4 months?
Yeah.
what? You haven't gotten in shape? I said, well, there's no gyms open. You can't diet? You don't know how to do push-ups or sit-ups or something? You know, like my gyms were closed too. I bought some battle rope and got busy. So for me, there's no excuse. People want this to be a business, but none of them knows what it means to even have a business.
Yeah.
Nobody understands what it means. Like, and I say nobody, but I say that like subjectively.
But a good percentage of people have sat on their hands.
Right. And when that gun goes off and it's like, all right, runners take your mark, I'm gone.
Yeah.
I'm gone. Like before this COVID thing was happening, I was set to have one of the biggest breakouts that whole week.
Oh, WrestleMania week.
I think when it was all said and done, it was supposed to be like 7 matches in like 4 or 5 days.
Shit. And a few Hennessy's with me.
You go there too. Right. And so, there's been a lot of, a lot of stuff that, like a lot of stuff that's been going on that guys just don't quite grasp. Like I said before, you can't spell the word professional without the word professional. And so I told people, I'm like, take that for how you want to see it, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And explain that, because I think that needs to be stressed a little bit. Because you made a post that says you can't spell the word professional without the word professional. Go into detail on that, please.
Okay, so despite everything that's been going on with the Speak Out movement and this, that, and the other, one is appalling for what people have been having to go through. It's just, I don't even really have the words to really kind of put it in the frame of reference. Because somebody just taking advantage of somebody is one of the lowest things anybody can fucking do, in my mind. Just because it's like, it lacks integrity, it lacks self-worth, like, just like any of it, it just, for me, I just feel like, man, you're a piece of shit. Like, you are a piece of shit. And then it comes out with people just kind of like, like, because this game starts so young and guys, want to get in as quickly as they possibly can, which I can definitely understand. And, I can definitely get, but dude, before wrestling, man, I fought fire. I fought fire for 10 years before I started wrestling. And when I say that, I don't mean like, I just kind of hung around. Like, no. I looked the devil in his fucking face for 10 years and laughed at him like, what's up? I tell people, I'm like, I got in this game 30, 31. Who in the fuck is going to talk to me like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing? To an extent. I'm like, no, dude, you're not going to talk to me like that, dude. Are you out of your mind? Like, no, I'm a professional. I've been a professional for 10 years. I know what I'm, I know what I'm about. No one's going to talk to me like that. And I'm not going to let anybody sit there and like, disrespect me and all that. And that's something where a lot of these kids get afraid. It's like, well, I don't want to like, well, people, nah, dude. No, somebody's talking to you some way. Don't. Like I said, I'm 30. My own mama don't talk to me that way. So who the hell do you think you are? And that's something where I'm just like, I guess that's where, for me, the line gets drawn to an extent with some, with just people just talking to people in the old way. I'm like, nah, man, I'm a professional. Understand that, Chief. Like, I'm a professional first and foremost. I will always be professional. It's what I do. It's what got me paid. It's what got me this far. If you think for a minute that I'm gonna just let some dude talk to me because I didn't bump the right way or because I took a booking somewhere else, you got nothing in common. Like, 'cause last time I checked, no one get bills at my house but me.
Yeah.
So why would I allow that? And that's something that I tell like some of the other guys that kind of ride with me. I'm like, yo, man, like, don't let anybody talk to you like that. Like, don't ever let anybody talk to you like that. This is you. This is your time. This is what. This is your time. This is your thing. No, man, don't let anybody talk to you like that ever. And so, some people get it, some people don't.
Right.
We'll see. But, like, at the end of the day, be a professional. Be a professional about your stuff. And with even that, though, is like, I only want to associate myself with professionals.
Yeah.
Which means if you're not about your business, I don't want to talk to you.
That makes complete sense.
There's glue on the other side.
So when this shit opens up, how do people find you? How do people contact you? How do people book O'Shea Edwards? Because God knows you're willing to travel anywhere. Yeah.
Well, like I said, if people want to get in touch with me, like I said, there's always Twitter. Twitter is usually the best way to get in touch with me. All damn day O'Shea on Twitter. Instagram, there's that too. And the same thing on Facebook. I also have email, book all damn day O'Shea, on at gmail.com for all that good stuff. When this all pops off, that is the $1 million question. But
well, let me
when
tell
it
you, I've
does,
been going to shows. It's starting to, man.
Yeah. Well, in the South, yeah. Everywhere else, not so much.
No, that's
like Maryland, DC. Yeah,
well,
Maryland,
I've
DC,
been to,
Virginia,
I've been up north and I've been to Indy. So
yeah. So at this point in time, yeah. So like so much at this point in time, it's all just we're all just going to wait and see, what happens, and then like I said, we'll go from there.
Sure. O'Shea, you are a mensch. You are the best person I know in professional wrestling. Any promoters listening to this, do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Book O'Shea Edwards. He will be the best part of your show and the best part of your locker room. So thank you for being on the show, my friend.
Dude, I appreciate you, man. Thanks for having me, bud.
No, thank you, man.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
On episode 553 of the Place to Be podcast, Scott and JR are with Steve Bennett to wrap up 1990 with the 12/28/1990 MSG House Show. Highway to the Impact Zone number 3, hosts Logan and Jake with Sean Kidd and Lewis Maynard take a look at weekly pay-per-view number 99. Chaps are back with another episode of Special Relations and a wedding-themed show. On Talking WCW, Jenny, Greg, and Tim bang the locker room door and talk about the best of Goldberg. The NWA Saturday special has Scott and Dr. G hosting guest Callum McDougall to discuss the 4th spot in their NWA Mount Rushmore. Check out the Pop feed with great shows include the Year in Pop, Laugh-In Theater, Great Debate, Glenn Butler Podcast Hour Spectacular, Diamond Conversations, It Was a Thing on TV, A Piece of the Action, Blockbuster Rewind, and so much more. While you're out, check out the Jenny position. Check out Geek and Sassy, Talkin' Pop, Freak Out Drive-In, Brother Sister Rewatch, The Journey Through Infinity, and more. And the new North-South Connection, my new favorite feed, brought to you by JT Rosario, Chad Campbell, and Aaron George, which has Wrestling Warzone, No Holds Barred, Extreme 3-Way Dance, Jeff Learns Wrestling, The Roots of the Aggressive Podcast, TNA Never Dies, and so much more. We kicked off our 2020 stretch project, determining the greatest WCW match ever. You have till New Year's Eve to do research, promote matches, and build your list. Conversation rules can be found at facebook.com/GWCW matches or on the Pro Wrestling Only message board. On our social media pages, the greatest song from a movie tournament is kicked off, so be sure to vote for your favorites every day. Go to PlaceMeNation.com every day. We have new voices and fresh takes, bringing you articles on the topics of the world of wrestling, sports, and pop culture, including Trends, SmackDown, and Fox Report, The Week in WWE by John Crow, Paulie's Perspective, Ben's Unpopular Opinion, Matt's Disney live-action journey, and Glenn Butler's Wednesday Walk Around the Web. And if you're doing online shopping at Amazon, be sure to click on the banner on the right side of PlaceMeNation's homepage or use PlaceMeNation.com/Amazon. Takes you right to Amazon and helps us out with no cost to you.
again.